Guys, welcome to August already. Can you believe it's August already? I'm a little shocked myself. I thought I'd do the entire presentation in French since I spent 2 weeks in France last month, which was great. No, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. It's a good turnout. It's nice to see everybody. I wasn't around much last month with Brisbane preparation and then leaving town. So we had an okay month. But I wanted to get started because we actually have a new sponsor who wanted to come and talk to you guys tonight. Sam from Speedhound is here, so he'll get the second half. So I have to speak. Thank you, sir. I have to speak somewhat quickly, which is a strange thing for me. Okay, so first off, next month I'll do a little rewind of my trip to France that will have more pictures. But this is the Col della Finestra in Italy, which was my first big ride. Here's the first clue for going to France and doing big rides for 2 weeks. Don't do the hardest ride on the second day you're there after traveling for like 40 hours and sleeping in the, I slept in the train station because I didn't want to go all the way to Paris to get a hotel for 6 hours and then get on a train. So anyway, quite the adventure. This climb was the climb that Froome took off on in the Giro d'Italia and crushed everybody. Unbelievable, just amazing. It goes, the town is a whole nother climb the other side of the edge of the screen here. So this is near the top. From here, actually, I think this is the top. It's just amazing. It's, you know, it's dirt for half of it, and then it's dirt for half, and it's really steep for all of it. It cooked me so bad. And then I didn't eat at the top. Anyway, I'll stop talking about me, and so I threw up because I bonked so bad on the Sestriere climb, and that kind of ruined me for like 3 days. And so I was really tentative the rest of the time, but we'll talk about that later. But what a great time. And these are some of our winners. We took 4 wins last month. I have to qualify the winners thing by saying that I've only really tracked road so far this year. So the numbers that we show up are road-based. And I know, for example, Quinn here, he won San Rafael and he won something else. But he didn't have a San Rafael picture, so I just put what he had. But Yvonne took a couple, and actually, way to go for Steve Clifton in the 55s, getting first at...
You've got the four-door race wrong.
That's not, I didn't do that. That's
Is that me?
That's Norma Hilton.
I'm sorry,
That's you.
I mistook that. I thought that
This was from, Norma was nice enough to send me her. So when you see these images again in the newsletter, act like you've never seen them before and you're super excited. And tell Norma thanks, she did a great job. Anyway, we also had some other good performances. We have a couple of pictures throughout. This is tonight's look up. I'm trying to shake it up a little bit. I don't want to be sort of the same thing every week where it's, you know, monotone and dry and boring and stuff. So I changed up the welcome to have some news and announcements. We'll see how that goes. Focus races, we have a couple coming up. They're actually pretty quick after each other, the 25th of August and the 2nd of September. And then we have the cyclocross stuff. And I actually added another thing. You'll see here in the racing update. Another thing in September, since August is pretty much over now, right? What is it, the 7th? Yeah, pretty much over. We should just move to September. Okay, so some interesting items for you guys in the news and info section, the new news and info section. Obviously, Sarah pretty much kicked ass at Nationals along with Norma and Bill Brisman, and I think there are a few other people. Eric Sauner, were you there? Yeah, Eric was there. So great track nationals. This does not also, their numbers don't include track. So think of this as just a starting point on numbers. But Mark Koenig's doing track day on the 9th again. Last time we had a great time, good turnout. Really, if you haven't done track, do his preliminary first-timer sessions on the August 18th. But I'd love to get at least 10 or 15 or 20 people to come out. So A, it cuts the cost for everybody, and we can have a little bit more fun with the session. Doing some race formats and stuff, and maybe incorporating some road stuff. For example, and I'll be a little freeform, I apologize. If you guys saw the video from the Red Kite with Alex, you know, some of that finish stuff where we're getting swamped at the end, we want to try to start addressing some of that with using some of that assigning riders tasks and giving them a finish line. Like, for example, you know, Ken, your finish line is 2 laps to go. So where, you know, we get that commitment for you guys. And you know, we're right on the cusp because he had a great lead from Tom, but Tom can't do 3/4 of a lap full gas on that course. So, you know, it's slowed down and no one wants to take the initiative. So if we'd had another rider to take the initiative, or if we'd pushed the pace a little earlier, or if he'd sat back a few places and jumped, these are the kind of things we can play with some scenarios at track. So I'm hopeful you guys come to that. Also, the Bidwell Park CX starts up, I think it's Wednesday mornings, is that right? Wednesday mornings at like 6:30 or 7. Yeah, I don't think anybody's already, usually it's done by, what's his name on the team? The guy whose name I can't think of. Basil, thank you very much. And I'm sure he'll have an announcement out, but that's a great one. I will also schedule, and I didn't put them on the schedule in September because I think it's too hot to ride usually in the evening at like 5 o'clock, but September, late September, October, we'll try to do some Wednesday nights or Tuesday nights, maybe some cross stuff locally for the cross team. So hopefully that catches some growth. Obviously, the Big Basin Old Growth Classic, I think, is sold out, but we have 4 or 5 riders going to that. So I thought that was worthwhile because in addition to road track, cross, et cetera, there's multi-terrain and gravel stuff, which is rising in popularity, of course, right? Big news for me is I kind of miss you guys. I haven't really seen you that much in the last 6 weeks or so. So I want to do a team camp for the fall, just a local camp, Saturday, Sunday, the 22nd, 23rd. Love to have you come out. I don't know the format yet, but it'll probably be, end of season, goofing off, endurance-y, long stuff. At least one long day, probably one day over 80 miles, and the next day we'll see how everyone feels. But I thought that might be fun. And then in September, like I started to speak on, we'll talk about the French trip if you guys are interested. Maybe I should survey and see if anyone's interested. The Flanders trip seemed like it got pretty good response. A lot of people came to the meeting, so. Okay, focus plan, HIT plan. HIT is pretty similar. The thing that I have to do with HIT is, a lot of you guys on HIT, raise your hand if you're on it now. Anybody here? Is add back some structured workouts, because I know HIT guys like that. But really the focus now is, it's not about riding tons and miles and trying to bump your CTL really high. It's about being fresh for race day and trying to plug in those last few race days. And I say that for a couple reasons. One of them is, I combine these two. If you're close to an upgrade, it's a great time to kind of knock that out. There's still all of August and most of September racing on the road. A fair bit of crits, some good stuff. San Ardo, Dunnigan Hills is coming up this weekend if anybody's doing for the Elite Championships. It's also a good race. But the goal, is to kind of keep the weeks, from my perspective, keeps the weeks fun and less about work in August, because for a lot of people, August is the end of the season. We start getting a little like, man, I hate bikes, right? Even though we love bikes, it's after a while you're like, yeah, bikes. So just keep it fun, keep it light. Think of the workouts not as a mandatory thing, but as sort of a framework around which you can build some efforts. And if you need anything specific or want any specific feedback, please talk to me, because like Brian and I are doing some time trial stuff for him for Esparto and districts. And send an email, and you got to kind of bug me sometimes too, because believe it or not, I'm sometimes hard to reach. Looking at those off seasons, that's one reason. Another reason I want to do the camp in late September was to look at off seasons, because the training plans will end, quote unquote, end on September 30th, and I'm not planning to start them again until November or December formally. But that doesn't mean we're taking 2 months off. It means that we're going to try and have a little more fun in the fall for the roadies and maybe incorporate some of the cross stuff into it and just, kind of coalesce as a team, I hope, because it seems like it's been a little sporadic this summer. But I'm really excited about that. And cross, for the cross guys, it's basically getting on the bike 2 or 3 times a week, starting to ramp up some of the intensity, introducing some threshold work. That's, the standard 2x20s, 30s, playing with crisscrossing efforts, and adding a little bit of high intensity, right? Because I don't want you guys fast in September. I want you fast in October, November, December. Okay? Questions about the training plans? Right. Rolling right through. So again, the numbers update. We're up to 31 wins, but I know that's a little low relative to mountain bike, track, and everything else. But we did add 4 this month. I'm really optimistic, and I said this last month. I'm really optimistic about this number and this number, because they're showing that we're getting close to the finale. What I'm hoping is we can start improving this ratio of being able to finish it off with taking the top step on the podium. And I think that comes down to a little bit of training, a little bit of cohesiveness as categories, and maybe some more oversight from me and from the categories themselves at races that I'm not at, to try to have a cohesive plan. The terminology project is not dead. It will be making a reappearance, because I really want you guys to have that common vernacular as well. Okay? Still the Elite Fours. We don't really have very many Elite Fours anymore. They've all upgraded. Well, maybe not all, but they're all old and washed up. Maybe it's fives. We don't have any fives. So the fact that the fives aren't on here is because we don't really have any fives listed on the stuff. But the Elite Four is really, you guys need to pull out a win sometime before the end of September. Okay, I mean, no pressure. But I think that's the only category that doesn't have a win because we don't really have a 45 or a 35 1, 2, 3 team that races much. We have some racers that are eligible, but they don't usually compete. But I'd like to get some wins in that. Thanks to Yvonne for towing the load for us last month, taking 2 wins. But good results, good numbers. 55s finally pulled their win, so that closed out that category. And even in 35 1, 2, 3s, we do have a win. And technically 45 1, 2, 3s, some of those 1, 2, 3 wins are in 3, 4 combined because they're 3s, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt. But in bat, we're up to 4th. We moved up 1 spot. So again, another emphasis for late season racing. It's not that we're going to jump to 2nd or 1st. We're probably not. But that late season racing solidifies excellence, right? If we're top 5 2 years in a row in bat, to me that sets the table for really good 2019. And riders, individual riders-wise, we've got some leaders, and we've got some good category finishes too. The 45 4.5s are 1st. The 55 4.5s are 5th.
Sorry, you said what? Did you say first?
I said first. Yeah, 45 4.5s. Which, again, it goes to a whole season's worth of effort, right? And I can't believe it's August, but it seems not that long ago that we were at training camp planning the year, and it's already almost over. So it goes so fast. They grow up so fast. Okay, yeah, that's a good differentiation of the screen. Hopefully you guys can see it. But this is the winner's road race course. The next screen has a map that I'll walk through a little bit. It looks intimidating because the climb looks really bad, but the climb's really not bad. This, as you can see, it occurs over sort of 4 miles from the turn to the top of the climb. So it's not like it's right away. The last pitch is pretty solid, but it's a nice kind of rolling, somewhat deceptive course because you don't really realize that you're climbing as much as you are. And again, for me, I look at a profile like this and I say, gosh, as a team, it's a great opportunity for us to come in and execute, give guys specific responsibilities at certain times. Most of you guys will probably be doing 2 laps, which is 48 miles. Some will do 3 laps, 72 miles. The rest of the course, super fast. I've ridden out there a bunch doing the USAC training camps. We used to go out and loop around there every, twice to get the testing done because the front side of this, what's this side now, was our 5-minute test hill. Caution on the downhill if you're doing the race because it's fast, it's steep, and it can be strewn with rocks and stuff. So if you're doing good at the top, don't feel like you just need to push the gas as hard as you can because it's a gradual downhill all the way back, and you take a right turn. It's really cool little road, fast as heck. You come back, turn right, and it goes back through the orchards. And again, really good pavement, really fast, really fun. Teamwork. But the caveat is Velo Promo hasn't posted any race details yet.
There's a lot of fires up there.
And there's a lot of fires up there. So we'll see. The fallback would be probably I think there's a race the next day. I think it's not exciting. I think it's a red kite or something. But if that doesn't happen, we'll do that, or we'll add a race in September. I'm hoping it comes because I really like the course. I think it's a great course for us. As usual, the Discord will be the Thursday before at 7 p.m. And this is the actual race course. So here it turns onto whatever it's called, Canelo. And really it starts climbing about from the turn. There's a couple little sharp climbs, and then this is all really fun rolling. The main part of the climb is basically from this turn up. This is kind of the top right here. And it's got a nice little pitch at the end. It's hard, right? And if we can drive hard into it, you can really just get rid of the chaff and have nothing but the strong guys left, hopefully to include some of us.
Doesn't it go small, too?
It gets narrower, too. Yeah, it's a pretty cool road because it's wide open, and then it gets narrow, and it feels like you're kind of winding through farmland and climbing up and down. Some up and down, some rollers. Really, I like the road a lot. Easy to hold speed, especially from the top to the finish, because you're just rolling and slide downhill. The finish is closer to winners. This is what was off of a screen grab, but I think the actual finish, I don't know if that's the actual finish or not. Is it? Anybody done it? I think it's closer to winners. You go in through the trees, and I think it's kind of where the time trial used to stop.
It's pretty close to, you go over a bridge, and then another, mile or so.
Yeah, and it may be actually turn right and go back out into here. It's on the long straight?
It's a long, yeah, it's a long. Thank you.
Okay. And this runs up along 505. So again, flat, fast, easy to sit in, not do too much work. And then we have district crit. I would love you guys, if you're in Masters, just come out and do it. Okay. It's a good race. You never know what's going to happen. You might pull a champion's jersey on, but it's also a chance to come out and show up at districts, get some big race exposure, right? Especially if you're a new 3. Do they let 4s race districts? I think they do, district crit.
Depends on the age group.
Yeah, I think over 50 they do, but I don't think they do below. Is there?
Yeah.
These are things I should know, but. So even if you're Cat 4, it's the same crit that we've already done a bunch of times out in Pleasanton, so it's wide open. We should know it pretty well. The more we have, the more we can sort of work on team stuff. There's no time like a race to work on team stuff. Super convenient location for most everybody. You jump across a bridge and you're there in 30 minutes from here, something like that. Discord, probably not 7/12, since that's the second of. It'd be sorry about that. So the 2nd, 1st, 31st, like the 29th or 30th is the Discord. I'll send out a reminder on the new, thank you Andrew Chu, Google group, PenVelo Google group. Yay. I think you actually get messages now. That's cool. Okay, almost there, Sam. Cross schedule. So I only put 3 focus races on cross schedule. That was the request for focus races. However, I would say this is a jumping off point because there's a bunch more races. A lot of them are good, including the fact that the 6th and 7th is a 2-day event. The main focus race is Saturday the 6th, with Sunday being also, we should try and do, get some hotels and make it a little thing because it's a great race, great course. Their registration doesn't open until later in August. And of course the race isn't until late in, or early in October, so there's a lot of time.
September they open, and you should sign up early because it's sign up is where you get in place.
Oh, okay, good heads up.
September noon.
So it's going to be madness on September 6th, you said, at noon? Okay, the website said 23rd. Now there's an idea. We do have an option. There is a way to set up bike reg for team registrations, but we need to find a way to bill that back to either through the club or to whomever's paying for it up front, and then make sure they get reimbursed. Obviously, if you're registering 20 people, that's a fair amount of cash. The other one that's here, November 4th, they actually list 2 BASP Coyote Point races. That's 4th and the 18th of November. I'd like to do them both because the 18th is the week before districts, which are early this year on the 25th. So anybody considering nationals, crossers, if you're considering nationals, let me know. It's in Louisville, great location, fun place to go, great place to sort of hang out and have a good time when you're not racing. And we may add a couple more. There will be some races in December in addition to nationals that we'll end up doing, but the focus race is just those 3 with just the first day being the focus. The second day I'll be there, but it's not technically a focus race. So some people only opt to do 1 day. If they're doing 1 day, they can pick either one, doesn't matter to me. September calendar. So this weekend I put an informal ride similar to last weekend. I'll be out of town, but currently laid up anyway. But I wanted to keep you guys, you guys are doing it looked like there was a really great team ride on the club ride on Sunday. Had a lot of people go. I saw a lot of you guys' names, Menkos and everybody out doing that. Looked like a lot of fun. Obviously the 25th is Winners Road Race. The 2nd is Masters Crit. The 9th is Track Day. The 15th, 16th is camp. I'm doing the CX camp on the 15th. And then adding a race day in there where we may add some stuff on site at the CCCX. But I thought it's a good time to do a first race. I put camp a little later, so maybe it's a little bit not as hot and dusty, whatever. But that's hopefully that works for everybody. We'll see. And then, of course, there's track day and the fall camp on the 22nd, 23rd. More details will come on the Google group over the next couple weeks. But it's a good calendar into September. There will be supplemental stuff for cross once we have someone steps up, hopefully Basil, for the Wednesday mornings and maybe some Tuesday nights. My Tuesday ride kind of morphs into cross in mid-September anyway, so we might as well try and do some stuff, either a Rasadero or something like that. Or maybe we'll get Bill Harcola to lead some crazy free-form ride. Or the other one that's always fun to do around the end of daylight savings, and we can do it as a team ride, is
Becker's going to do that.
He's gung-ho for that, so he's a good guy. And he's not here, so. And, but that would be good around daylight savings time. Before that, it's really cool to do up Stevens Creek, up the dirt, and then climb up to the radio towers. It's a horrible little climb. My idea of fun seems to involve horrible amounts of climbing. Sorry. It's what's it called? I don't know what it's called, but it's brutal. It's a solid hour from the top of the pavement to the top. Well, 45 minutes or so.
Like up over into like Fremont Older from there, right?
You can go up and over into not Fremont Older, but you can go up and over into all the stuff off Page Mill up there. There's all those trails up there. So if you climb up.
All the things Stevens Creek Reservoir.
No, yeah, Stevens Creek Reservoir around all the way up Stevens Canyon to the dead end, and then up. And if you go left, it goes up to Summit. If you go right, it goes up to the radio towers. If you go straight, it goes up to Page Mill. So good options for that. So that would be a really fun ride to do. I like to do it as a night ride, bring the lights and sort of show up around daylight savings time so you can start 6:37 and then come down Montebello usually because that's just going down pavement's a little safer than going down dirt in the dark. Remaining road races, I kept it pretty straightforward, winners, districts, and then the cyclocross team events. And from there, unless there's any questions, I think it's time for Sam to come. Okay, inform us on speed on. So we have a couple minutes in the interim. Any questions, comments, needs, desires, wants, wishes, complaints?
If you're done again Hills this weekend, watch the smoke forecast.
Yeah. Is that near the car fires up there or something?
They're all dumping into the valley.
Yeah, they're big. Someone took a picture flying over it the other day, and it was pretty nasty looking. Just smoke everywhere. We have some kind of plan B if winners doesn't happen. Yeah, I'll look on the schedule. It would either be the next day, whatever that race is, or we can find something more interesting in September. Because there's CCCX, there's San Ardo is a good race too, but that's the week before, I think, and I'm actually not in town. But it's a good race if you're looking to do the Cal Cup stuff. San Ardo is one of my favorite races, just because it's yeah. So obviously, that's not going to qualify. But either that race or that next weekend, there's a couple races that weekend of the Giro.
Winter's weekend. I think it's Vacaville. It's Vacaville Grand Prix.
Yeah, which is.
That's a good race. Vacaville's a good race.
Let's go do Mount Whitney stage race. That'd be a blast. What's the date on that, Brian? Brian, what's the date?
It's the winter season hats.
Oh, it's that weekend.
It's that weekend.
I'd totally go do that. Yeah, it's a beautiful area and big climbs, right? So that would be a lot of fun. I can survey the team too and ask what people want to do. Yeah, we could take the station wagon, but you probably don't want to be in the station wagon for that long.
What was the stage race you guys were just talking about?
Mount Whitney stage race over in Lone Pine. Really cool race. I think it used to be the Everest Challenge, and so they try to do like 30,000 feet of climbing in 2 days.
It's pure fun.
Which is also in the air probably. Last I heard they were looking for volunteers to help work with it. Huh? University is also a great race, super hard. Good for us. What's in September, Brian?
September,
Yeah.
Red Kite finale, then the Masters.
Yeah, and then the weekend after, the 9th.
There's a CCCX, I think.
Hill Climb, Red Bull, Paper Climb,
Okay.
Central CCCX, and then 15th is Sparta,
Okay.
Oakland Grand Prix,
Oakland Grand Prix might be a nice fallback.
PenVelo, the 22nd.
Yeah, Oakland Grand Prix might be a nice fallback, or Henleyville. Because Oakland GP is a good fun course it's technical and not on the same weekend. Or we could do the Red Kite or CCCX the next day if we want to do that same weekend. So I'll put some options out. I'll try to contact Bob and see if he's got any idea of if it's going to go or not, but there's nothing on the website.